Hi everyone, welcome back to Mandarin Chinese. This video is the second video and I'm going to explain how we can write the sounds of Chinese. Now, if you can imagine, you've probably seen lots and lots of Chinese symbols. And when you look at them, you think, it's just like a picture. It's just like a code and I don't know how to decode the code. So we need a way to figure this out. So if I was to show you something like this, you would think, wow, it's just a wall of symbols and I have no idea what that means. I could make a guess, but I'd probably be wrong. So how are we going to know what these symbols say? What sounds are made when people read these symbols? Well, in English, we have an alphabet. So we have A, B, C, all the way to X, Y, Z. As a young kid, you learn the alphabet, and the teacher teaches you we have a capital A, but we also have a small a, and that has a sound. It's A. And then we have B, and then we have K. So from that knowledge, you can actually start to read words in English. Once you know the sound of each letter, you can read some words in English. So here's an example. If I give you three letters, K, A, T, you can put that together, K, A, T, cat. And this is how we start to learn to read in English. This is how we sound out the words. In fact, if you think about it, the C, the A, and the T, they're also just symbols. But you've learnt exactly what that symbol means and what sound that symbol makes. So that's how we can read. If I was to show you this, no idea. You could maybe guess what it might be. It looks like there's a square with a cross in the middle of it, and on the left-hand side there's something that looks like a tail. I don't know. I wonder what it is. What if I was to show you this? Here we see three English letters, M, A, O. If I was to ask you to pronounce this out loud, what would you say? Have a try. Mao? Looks like Mao. Mayo? Yeah? If you said Mao, that would be really close. In fact, this does say Mao, and it means cat. So that symbol I just showed you before, with the tail on the side and the box with the cross in the middle of it, that's actually the Chinese symbol for cat. And it's pronounced Mao. What if I was to say a sound to you now and ask you to write down what you hear? Get a pencil and a piece of paper. I'm going to say a sound. It's going to have three letters, and I want you to write down what you hear. You ready? Ren, ren, ren. Write down what you heard. What did you write down? I've asked people before to write this sound down, and most people write down R-E-N, ren, ren. So I've given you a sound, and you've used some English letters to write that down. So in Chinese, we're going to be learning this system of using English letters to write the Chinese sounds. Now that helps us understand how we can actually start to speak Chinese without memorizing all those symbols straight away. We will be memorizing some of the symbols, and we're going to call those Chinese characters. So writing the English letters, we call this Pinyin, Pinyin, P-I-N-Y-I-N. Pinyin is used in China. It's also used all around the world to help people to learn the sounds. Now, if you can imagine a street sign in China, in some streets in China, and you can see on this photo, some of the streets only have the Chinese symbols, like the sign at the top of this slide. But some of them, as you can see from the slide below, they have the Chinese symbols, and then below there are some English letters. These English letters are the Pinyin that tells us how to pronounce those three symbols. So this is how Pinyin is used. If you look at this next slide, It's basically a photo of somebody's passport. And you can see where it says surname at the top, it has a Chinese symbol. And then beside that, there are some English letters, Z-H-A-N-G. So because this young boy is traveling outside China, he's going to other countries where maybe Chinese isn't spoken or people can't read Chinese, his passport needs to have the Pinyin written there so that if someone needs to call this guy's name, they can say, Mr. Zhang, come over here. If it only had the Chinese symbol, no one outside China will be able to call his name. So it's very important to have this as well. The second part that's really important in learning Pinyin and what Pinyin means is that in addition to the English letters that we have, like in Mao, M-A-O, or in Ren, R-E-N, we also need to have some tone marks. Now, I'm going to explain tones in the next video. Mandarin basically is a tonal language, which means when we pronounce individual sounds, some of them go up, some of them go down, some of them stay flat. We're going to practice those. And they're very, very important because if you get the wrong tone, it actually changes the meaning of the word. So in English, we have cat. We can say cat, 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 and it's still a cat. But if you change the way you say it in Chinese, it actually changes the meaning of the word. In Mandarin, there are 4 tones, and I'm going to introduce those in the next video. In this last slide, you can see a sentence which probably doesn't make any sense to you. It's got English letters, and you can see individual words there. But if I was to use just one tone in Mandarin to read this, it would sound like this. 昨天我帮女儿去一家超市买可乐、稀饭、豆皮. Sounds really strange, doesn't it? If I said that sentence to a Chinese person, they wouldn't understand me because I'm not using the right tones. It should sound like this. 昨天我帮女儿去一家超市买可乐、稀饭、豆皮. You can listen to this a couple of times and see if you can hear the difference between those 2 ways of speaking. Sometimes also, when I'm talking about tones, we're going to actually use numbers. So the first tone, the second tone, the third tone, and the fourth tone, but we'll explain that more in the next video.